What's up, guys? Morgan Baird here, along with Matt Kemp. Another episode of Passing Under the Yellow coming at you hard and quick. We'll recap our weekend of racing on our personal level, going to the ARCA and Xfinity and Cup race weekend. One of the best race weekends of the year, in my opinion, with Monaco, Indianapolis 500, which was an amazing race, and then Coke 600, even though it was a day and a half late. Still a really good race. I thought one of the best races of the year. So I guess we can just dive into kind of how our weekends went on the personal side. Matt, you want to start that off?
Yeah, it went pretty good for me. Um, pretty fortunately, it was a crazy time getting to the track, but once we got there, things went pretty well. We got fast time and ended up winning the feature. So it's pretty good night on our end.
Yeah, well, I will say I actually went back and I watched the Discord video that you guys had posted of, I thought it was just going to be the interview, but I ended up watching the whole race, and it was a very competitive race. I mean, top 4 or 5 cars there at the end kind of pulled away, and it was a heck of a battle. Who are you battling? Was it 17 or who was it?
Yeah, so we were battling, I mean, really with everybody, truthfully. I felt like everyone was
Yeah,
kind of under a blanket. It was
yeah,
just
I
kind of
thought
an
so
awesome
too.
race, but yeah, Cy in the 17, he was quick up there. Troy was in the 1A because his motor was having some problems
Mm-hmm.
on
Wanna?
in his actual car, so he jumped in that car, and then um past champion Stephen Bobek came back and joined the series for a race.
Yeah, I
That was
saw
pretty cool.
that. Yeah, I was like, who the hell is this in his car? But then come to
Yep.
find out it's him. So that's cool to see him back.
Yeah, he was running really good, and honestly, I think with a little more seat time, he probably would have whooped us all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a pretty good deal, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked like a heck of a race from the fan standpoint, anyways. And shout out, is that Birch Run?
Yeah. Yep.
They did an excellent job. Their commentary, those cameras that they have set up for the people to watch, man, that was some professional looking stuff. I will give them credit. That is one of the best short track setups they have as far as the commentary goes and the setup they have for the fans to view. I mean, it was 10 out of 10 for short track stuff. So that's cool. And then congrats to you on that win. That was sweet. It was a really good race to watch. I recommend anyone go check that out. Bertrand Speedway MCR Dwarfs this weekend was a real good show. A lot of cars out there too, so it's cool. Not many wrecks. I hate to see Zach got caught up in one early. It looked like, and then did he have some sort of issue after that, or just bent something, or
Yeah, just kind of being marred back in traffic was really the biggest problem for him, and just kind of got stuck. So and kind of getting turned around there at the beginning with a pretty
yeah,
decent car count was um
yeah, it
not
Myers you
helpful
back in
either.
traffic. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you said, like, and I couldn't tell if he had damage or not, but I mean, you gotta have everything kind of go right. You really got to pick your lanes in those. You got to keep your momentum up, and he was in a bad spot there on the bottom. He kind of had nowhere to go once that, from what I saw. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, he'll be back. Yeah, so I guess we can kind of. Oh, there's a truck race this weekend. Jack, totally forgot about that. Um, but yeah, we'll jump into I guess my race weekend. We had a pretty okay weekend. Last 3 weeks qualified eighth. Last week was seventh. Then this last week we qualified fifth. So we've been moving up. That's out of 24 cars. Um, so we started. I'm not sure. I think we started third or fifth in the heat. Top five out of the heat automatically advanced to the A. So we were able to do that. Um, Transfer to the A. It's nice not having to worry about getting into the B and having to transfer there. But so that was nice. We made our first A just on being consistent in heat and stuff like that. Um, it seems like them guys got a lot more engine than what we do at this point. I don't know. I'm sucking on restarts, but I feel like I get the thing set and try to go and they just leave me. So trying to be better at restarts, but other than that, started, I think it was ninth or something in the feature, or no, maybe 11th, or it was way back. I can't remember. I don't know. We started 14th and ended up 15th, and we just really, I wanted to put a whole night together. I'd never been on a track that slipped off. Shout out to Butler Speedway; they did a good job at prepping that track. It's been really dry here, and it'll be interesting to see what the track does this weekend and what they kind of been doing to prepare the track. But when you get these really dry weeks, I mean, it's 90 degrees here, right? today, tomorrow, and the next day. And who knows how hot it'll be on race day? That's 4 days out. So um, we'll see what happens. But it felt good to put a whole race together, finish 15th, and now we can kind of just chip away about getting a little bit quicker and dialing it in for hopefully chipping in at top tens and top fives at some point. So other than that, it felt good to just put one together. So pretty much how my weekend went.
Yep, just getting that consistency. The more you run, the more consistent you'll get, and things will just
Yep.
kind of come to you. So
Yeah. Not bad for the fourth start, I guess.
no, I think we're
Take it.
especially qualify fifth out of 24. I feel like that alone is a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that's
happy
pretty
with where
cool.
we've been qualifying. We're getting good points out of that. So if we can keep qualifying in the top 10 every week, shows we got a fast car. Just need to do something with it. So we'll see. It's
Right
all
on.
different in dirt. So let's jump into the ARCA and Truck Series, eh?
Deal.
Deal. Okay. So ARCA Series, didn't really watch much of it. I saw there was a couple spins. Other than that, it looked like Jesse Love got a late restart. And if you're not in a Venturini car or what, KBM car, is that a Joe Gibbs car or KBM? It's got to be a Joe Gibbs car now because it's Toyota, right? It's not
So
the 18. It's a Joe Gibbs car in the ARCA
I do
Series.
believe the 18 is Joe
It
Gibbs,
can't be Kyle Busch. Can't be
right?
Motorsports
I'm
because it
pretty sure
was.
it's Joe Gibbs. Last I
Um,
heard, it was Joe Gibbs.
we're just gonna go with Joe Gibbs. But if you're not in that Joe Gibbs car, one of the three or four Venturini cars, you might as well not even show up, pretty much, unless you're just really lucky on a day and they all have terrible luck and wreck or blow tires and engines or something. I don't. That'll never happen. But
It would take a lot.
yeah, he pretty much walked away with that. I guess we can get into the truck series. From what I remember of that, it was actually a pretty good race. I didn't watch too much of it. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of digging here while we've got fans here. I know we've got a lot of fans here. So yeah, looked like in the truck race, the best trucks were Corey Heim. Dean Thompson had a pretty good run in the five. Thor Sport truck. Hocevar was up there. But Ben Rhodes, I mean, he led. I think he and Corey Heim led like 40 or 50 laps apiece. I know Carson Hocevar was up there and led quite a few laps, but those are the only three trucks that pretty much led the whole race. Were Hocevar and Corey Heim, Ben Rhodes. Some notables in the back of the pack, Haley Deegan, 33rd place finish. I don't know. I don't think she couldn't buy luck if she tried at this point, man. I don't even know what happened to her for her to be that far back. I didn't watch too much of the race, but a couple of notable decent runs. I guess you could say, like I said, Dean Thompson, but outside of that,
That's big.
Matthew Dennevetto, eighth place. But it is cool to see Ben Rhodes get back in victory lane. I don't mind him too much. He's okay.
He's a veteran of the truck series now at what, 27,
I'd fucking love to have that problem.
right?
I mean, that's awesome. So, other than that, I don't have too much from the truck series. It does look like that was a triple truck challenge race. So, he got a $50,000 bonus for that. Um, outside of that, though, I don't recall anything too wild or crazy happening in this event. Got anything to add to it?
Not really. I agree with you though. It's cool to see Ben Rhodes win.
All right, let's jump into. I guess we can do kind of Sunday as a whole deal. That's what we thought. I think Sunday is one of the biggest days in racing motorsports with Monaco, Indy, and then the Cup race, like we kind of touched on. It sucks that the Cup race got rained out, but it was a amazing Indy 500. I'm sure you saw the tire that got out of the track and hit the car outside
Yep.
of the stands. That was crazy. No one was hurt.
Very
300
fortunate.
and there was around 370 or 380,000 people there for not one person to be. I mean, if that happens pretty much anywhere else on the
Yeah,
track other than the
anywhere
back
else.
straightaway,
Mm-hmm.
someone's gonna get killed. I feel like because that thing's got to be coming at 200 miles an hour. That's
100,
just
180 minimum. Yeah,
whatever. I mean, and it's 100-pound tire. You're dead, man. It's like getting hit with a bomb, pretty much. So, um, but yeah, it was a really exciting finish. Joseph Newgarden getting that overall really good weekend for Penske.
I wasn't sure
Monaco.
about the finish. What did you think about the finish, Andy? Do you think they should have red
I
flagged
thought it
it?
was controversial. I did think they had the red flag though, because the whole track was blocked. So they did the right thing. I think they did 100% the right thing. Yeah, you got to remember, you got people coming out from all over the world to see this event. Man, how upset would you be if you came from Australia or Japan or something to watch that event and it ends under yellow? I just hate that. But
Yeah,
the
I mean, as much as it
traditionalists will
sucks,
be
though.
like, traditionalists will argue. At least I'm sure you're probably gonna argue right now. Is
Yeah,
it's 500. Fuck that. Fans want to see a finish, man. That is just call NASCAR what you want, but they give the fans what they want, and we want to see fucking finishes. When it sucks is when they can't do 2 laps without crash, and it turns into a shit. So that's when it's not fun. But
yeah.
outside of that, I thought it was a good race. And then Monaco sucked as far from an F1 standpoint. I mean, Max Verstappen just killed everybody. I heard somewhere that there has not been a green flag pass for the lead at Monaco since 1996.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
That is, yeah, and people show up to watch what? It's about the event. It's not even about the car. I mean, no one gives a shit about the race. It's over before it starts. But anyways,
Well, hey, I'll
outside of
tell you
that,
what. While we're talking about crowds and just kind of the amount of people at the events this weekend at Charlotte, after I got done with my race on Friday, I drove down to Indiana that night, jumped in a car, drove all the way down to Charlotte, and we actually attended the race. Me and a couple other guys, and uh, yeah, so we went through the whole weekend of action down there with Xfinity and Cup both getting rained out, and then
mm-hmm.
also on Monday with Xfinity starting and then getting rained out,
Oh
postponed until
yeah,
after the Cup race, watching the whole Cup race. Couldn't stay for Xfinity, but um, there was
yeah,
a
I
heck of
can't
a crowd
imagine.
there on Monday.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. I mean, in the Sports Business Journal just tweeted out that that race got like 3.5 million views for a Monday or something like that. That is
It's
pretty
pretty good.
wild.
That's pretty
So
good for Monday.
yeah, that's really good. I think last year's race got 3.9 million and it was ran on Sunday, so
Right.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess we can kind of do Xfinity first since it was very uneventful for the most part. I didn't watch much of it because I was 2 seats to the wind tired. But
Well,
all
we
I
can do
guess
just like NASCAR did it, where we can start with Xfinity for a little bit, do the whole Cup race, and then
mm,
finish Xfinity after we get done talking about Cup.
I'd just rather do Xfinity at once. But all Guy wins a fuel mileage race is pretty uneventful. I know Ty Gibbs was pretty good early. John Hunter Nemechek had a good car. Brandon Jones, man, say what you will, but he proved me wrong. He brought home in the top 10 this week. I don't think he hit a fucking thing, so that's pretty cool. Good job, Brandon. Parker Retzlaff with a pretty good run. Carson Hocevar had a really good run. Top tens, and now, we'll get into this now. I think it's asinine. Carson Hocevar is getting that 7 car in LaJoy. But outside of that, I don't. Sam Mayer got loose and wrecked off of 2. That's pretty much the only action that I recall from that whole race. But for what the Xfinity race lacked in the Cup race, sure made up for. So, do you have anything else you'd like to add to the Xfinity?
I only got to watch the first however many laps they ran before it started raining, so it was pretty uneventful from what I saw.
Yeah,
Which usually it's the other way around, but this weekend it was pretty uneventful.
yeah. Hey, well, I mean, it's still good race. It's just I think those cars perform a lot better when it's during the day in the heat when it was supposed to be. And a lot of those cars, you know, were set up. I mean, it sucks for them guys too because I know them that those teams are on time crunch because those guys were supposed to leave Monday night to go to Portland, Oregon. It's like a 50+ hour drive out there, and God, that's got to be miserable. So they were just,
Yeah.
I'm sure some of them team guys are just hating life right now. It's a
Yeah, and it's not NASCAR's fault they had to push it back either. You know,
no,
they got a TV window they got to
they
make, and
raced
it's
in the
just
rain there for a
tough.
moment, I guess, is what I was hearing. Is they were actually flipping and sliding out there. The
Yeah,
spotters walked
they
off the
they
spotter
were
stand. Yeah.
they were because we were sitting over in 3 and 4 and watching everybody about wreck. And tell you what, Jeb Burton, had a hell of a save over there. I don't know if they caught it on TV or not, but
I don't
he
think
came into
so.
3 and 4. Man, he was 45 degrees. I mean, I'm like, oh, he's
Just
wrecking.
getting
Brought it
bricks.
back and
Yeah.
saved it. It was like, yeah, it was pretty incredible. But right before they threw that last yellow, you could see guys really just getting loose and flying up to the fence. So
Yeah.
they just wanted to get the stage over with at that point. But either way,
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, let's jump into the Cup Series then, shall we?
let's do it.
So the Cup Series, pretty eventful race. It's probably one of the more exciting. Just like last year. I mean, the Coca-Cola 600 last year was the best race of the year, and right now I think you can argue this is one of the best races of the year as well. Um, a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of really good cars, in this race. Tyler Reddick was super fast. Bubba Wallace was super fast. Uh, obviously you had Harvick up there at some points. Kyle Busch, he spun, came back. Um, I mean, there's a lot of comers and goers in this race. I thought it was super, super, intriguing to watch. Because Hart. I think Byron wins. I think stage one. I want to say. Hamlin led at one point. Ultimately, I mean, Blaine. I think Blaney's average running spot was up there within the top five the whole race. Christopher Bell ended up spinning out. I mean, I'm just kind of going through stuff. I hated it early on to see Jimmy Johnson run out of talent there too. There, man. I'm not sure if you caught that, but
Oh, I
uh,
was there. I was cheering him on. You should have seen that whole first stage, man. He was flying. Like he started dead last and he was picking them off after that first run. I mean, he had 0 laps. I mean, he had 0 laps in a mile and a half in a next gen car before that
yeah,
race went green. So I didn't expect him to do too hot, but I mean, he really like I mean, they dropped the rag and he started going forward. So he got all the way up to like almost I feel like top 20 and he was
yeah,
actually tracking down Logano and faster than Logano and Logano's teammate won the race. So I think he could have had a solid run if he didn't spin it out there, but seemed
yeah.
like
We'll
Petty
never know.
GMS just had a bad day in general, but
Yeah, well,
man,
at one
as a
point
Jimmy
they
fan,
were
it was
running 35th, 36th, and 37th on the track,
yeah,
and that was before the end of stage two. So
right.
that's
As a Jimmy
rough.
fan, either way, it was just really nice just to go and just to watch him, and he was throwing
Yeah,
sliders on some guys and just
I
making
think he
big
needs
moves.
more time in that car to an
Yeah,
intermediate to kind of be competitive because it's tough, man. I mean, we saw Kyle Larson spin out late. Um, like I said, Kyle Busch spun out early on. It was kind of funny. He did a whole reverse thing all the way around the racetrack for some
yeah.
fucking
We
reason.
were
But
sitting over in 3 and 4 when that happened, and yeah, everyone was cheering. It
yeah,
was the biggest thing there, so that was cool.
for sure. And then I guess we could kind of just jump into this. I mean, the next following caution. I mean, there's a Christopher for Bell spin and a little later after that, but the big news was Chase Elliott absolutely destroying Denny Hamlin. And when I saw that at first, I'm like, oh, it just looked like it initially. Your first little view of it is that Brad might have got into Chase and hooked him, but I mean, upon further review, and then you got Denny tweeting the SMT data. I mean, Chase Elliott. It is so frustrating because you will have guys in the lower ranks of series saying these guys are brought up with no respect and this and that. You got the star of the sport just setting the absolute worst example possible. William Byron did it a couple weeks ago. I heard in some sort of late model race. They're just driving all over each other. So you've got both these Hendrick guys that I don't know. It's not a Hendrick guy thing, but it's just kind of common reoccurrence at this point. That is ridiculous reaction from Chase Elliott. He barely hit the fucking wall. I agree that it was no different than what
Bubba
Bubba
did.
Wallace
Mhm.
did to Kyle
Larson,
Larson.
yeah.
The only difference was Chase Elliott had to go a little bit less of a distance to chase Denny down to do it. And I'm sure you saw the replay, but I mean Denny hit hard as shit.
Oh,
He hit
I
hard.
thought, yeah, well, I was watching. I'm like, man, he's gonna hit hard enough
What
to
if
go
if
over,
if Denny gets hurt? Let's hypothetically, Denny gets hurt in that wreck. Is the penalty more severe?
right?
You know?
I I don't know. I don't think it is. I feel like it's probably the same penalty,
I
but
don't
it's
think these penalties are enough, man. They need to. And I guess we can jump into this because outside of Ryan Blaney winning the race, it's pretty much all there is to talk about.
which is really big for
That
him, by the way. That's
it
really
is.
big.
It was huge. I was like, it was cool to see him kind of get emotional in victory lane. It's been a long time for him, so I was happy to see it. I definitely wanted him to win. I didn't want Byron, didn't want Truex, didn't want anyone else. I wanted him, so it's pretty dope. But um, I guess we can. These two things I'm going to get into go one hand in the other. Is this penalty they just announced today for Chase Briscoe, who just basically lost his whole season unless he wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, they messed with they modified a piece on the car that you couldn't modify. And NASCAR came down with them with a huge penalty. Was it 20 some points? 250,000. I mean, it was a huge. It was an L3 penalty, huge
Yeah.
penalty, and they're
Just
losing. And I know the president has been set for what the penalties are for these penalties when these teams mess with the underbodies and stuff or any panels that come that are manufactured. But Case Elliott's and Case Elliott, they're about to request a waiver for this so he can remain playoff eligible. Basically, he gets a free week off, and it's not going to affect him in points. I think that is bullshit. Why even have the waiver system? You know, makes no sense. Well, you're suspended, but we're going to grant you a waiver, so it's actually not going to do anything to hurt you. You just get a week off. It's no different
right.
than when he was sitting out when he broke his leg. No different. No difference at all. As far as I understand it, what I know, I'm very, very informed, as you know. So I don't know. I think that's horse shit. I mean, I do think the Briscoe penalty is more in line with what they've done, but as always, the problem is usually NASCAR's judgment. It's always skewed. I saw a lot of people, and I'll just kind of end the little rant I'm on with this, but people tweeting, "Oh, Denny Hamlin drove Ross Chastain into the wall and this and that." And honestly, I didn't think Hamlin should have been suspended for that. If he would have never opened his mouth, I don't think he gets suspended. But um, dude, you can't right rear fucking guy and then somehow defend him and then go against, but the same people that call him Bubba to be kicked out of sport for 2 years are the same people that are defending Chase. It's just
Right.
hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of
And
bizarre.
Denny, I don't know if you listen to Denny's podcast, but he makes a great point. You can reason with some Chase Elliott fans. Some of them are saying, but most of them are not. So I feel like I can understand that perception of what he's kind of saying there. But outside of
Yeah.
that,
I
they
was laughing when I was listening to that when he was talking about Chase fans. I thought that was pretty funny.
yeah,
But
well, see, I would hate for NASCAR to get involved. I think if Chase and Denny want to beat the shit out of each other on pit road, no penalties. I think if uh they beat and bang on the track, and as long as nobody right rears anybody, there shouldn't be any
yeah.
penalties. Honestly,
Yeah.
I
100%.
know it's a by situation. You know, you can never predict what's going to happen, but you know, like I said, I don't think Denny should have got suspended for what he did to Ross, and he barely put him in the wall. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what kind of comes about this, but
Yeah. Well, at the
attaboy to
same time too,
NASCAR for
there's
making.
wrecking a guy. There's wrecking a guy, and then there's what Chase Elliott did was trying to damn hurt him. I mean, it turned him
Yeah, that was a
head on
bad
into the
hit.
dog leg. Like, how do you do that? Like
Yeah,
that was
the
bad.
worst place you can get turned, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
you thought Larson's hit was bad last year. Denny's
No,
was
yeah.
2 times worse than that, easily. So
Yeah.
uh, you can't dispute one and then not the other. I feel like they're pretty much the same boat. So attaboy to NASCAR to making that call. It's the right call. So
100%.
um, outside of that, I'm gonna check my notes here. I don't know. Um, you know, um, outside of the penalties, the Briscoe, big opportunity this week for Corey LaJoy. He got the call for the 9 car, and that's pretty much all you can ever ask for.
It's a big
He's
deal.
really, yeah, I think he should just not over try. If he brings it home in the top 10, that's a freaking win of a day. And he's been having some good runs this year, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. And it's just interesting. Like it seems like I think Hendrick has only had their full driver lineup for like 6 races all year. If you really think about it, the amount of people that have been out at certain times, I think it's only been like 5 or 6 or 7 races they've actually had their full set lineup start races. It's kind of wild to think about. So,
Yeah.
um, outside of that, we're going to Gateway this week. I didn't think this race was super amazing last year. Any track like this that they're shifting at, it's going to suck in my opinion. But hopefully the tire wear is good. Hopefully it's hot and slick, and it can be a good little race out there. They are bringing back the speed stage this weekend, I think, or I think that comes back this weekend. So,
Yeah. Well, I was supposed to come back at Charlotte. I was excited to be able to go and
is that right?
be a
Yeah.
part of it. And yeah, there it goes. It just rains out. So
Yeah, of course you went. It's because you went.
I know it's got to be.
But
How she goes.
so I guess we can do picks for Gateway.
Yeah. I'll let you go first. I'm sure you've got somebody.
Gateway. Uh, you know, I think you can't make a guy like Hamlin be mad right now. I think Denny Hamlin runs pretty well here. He got knocked out last year by Chastain, but he's pissed off right now. He's mad. I hope he goes out. It'll be an unpopular. It'll probably be his most popular win, honestly. If he wins this race, I don't know. They'll probably still hate him, but I like Denny.
Yeah. That's a good pick. I think I'm going to take Keselowski.
Brad K. Yeah, Roush has been on a little bit of a run recently. Both of us, I think both those cars were out. Well, at least one of them was in the top 10. No, Busher was eighth. So it's a
Yep.
good run for
Busher.
Stenhouse too. And how about Zane Smith? Freaking 38 cars, ranks 10th. That's pretty wild.
Did he really? Wow. I didn't even
There's a
notice
lot of
that.
attrition, obviously, but I mean,
Well, they stayed out late on those old tires. I can't believe they held in for 10th. That's great for
yeah,
them.
they got even Todd Gilliland has been sneakily been running pretty good this year. Um, in his equipment, I don't know if it lit a fire under his ass after he knew he was going to lose some of those races to Zane this year, but he's been running well too, so it's pretty cool to see. I don't know if they're just getting better, what's going on, but yeah, cool to see Zane in the top 10. Not that he's in, I have no comment, but yeah, cool to see. Um, outside of that, what else do you have? Anything to add to anything to add to it? Big,
No,
like I said,
not
big opportunity for LaJoy in the 9. It'll be interesting to see how he does.
Yeah, I wonder how he feels about it being at this track. But yeah, no, just cool that he's getting the opportunity because we kind of, I don't know, I thought he was going to get the opportunity earlier in the year and then he didn't really have that opportunity. And um,
Well, I think the
shoot, Jordan
Xfinity
Taylor
guys
got a,
being where they're at, I bet Josh Berry gets that car if the Xfinity cars aren't racing in Portland. I really do.
yeah, right.
So
Well, hey, good for Corey. Good for him to have a shot. I mean, you
I
love to
still don't
see
know if
anybody
you'd
have an
pick him though. There's
opportunity.
got to be other people that are available. There's got some truck guy. I don't know,
Yeah.
but who knows? We're not Rick Hendricks, so we'll see how it goes. But all right. Well, I guess that'll wrap up this week. Another action packed, tens of millions of viewers. This week we're just want to thank you all so much for supporting this amazing podcast. As you can tell, my enthusiasm is a little bit lower tonight because I'm a little tired. 90 degrees in Michigan, mid state, last couple of days, so it's kicking my ass. But Matt, anything to end on?
I am tired too. We need to figure out how to do this before 11 o'clock at night.
Well, this first time, so hey, way she goes. But all right, everybody, we'll be back after Gateway. Have a great week.
Love it when it's four wide, love it when it's fast, love it when the leader's caught, the pack is moving past. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear the double say.